Well, here we are in the gallery, sitting at my sewing machine, and I got my project here I'm almost done with. Yeah, it's a Sunday, just hanging out, doing my thing, finishing up this project. I'm gonna have these four dresses done. These four dresses, and they're gonna be real cute. So, I've been thinking. There's like this housing thing that they're talking about around here. Some people are bent out of shape. They want some people want to be able to sell their ADUs. They want to break up their lot and sell their ADUs, make some quick cash, right? And people are saying, oh, we really need the housing, blah 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 blah. Well, I think it's a bad idea. I think it's a bad idea, and this is why I think it's a bad idea. The lots down here aren't very big, right? They're smaller than postage stamps, right? So you have a house that has an ADU on it, an additional dwelling unit, right? A granny unit. And you bought that house with that granny unit. You probably bought that house with that granny unit either for your one of your aging parents or your aging parents, or for kids in college, kind of thing, whatever. People don't want to rent out to people because it's such a pain in the ass, and renters do take advantage. Just the short amount of time that we had people living in our cabin, what a pain in the ass that was. And so anyway, people don't want to be bothered with renting out to people, right? But you sell that off. You sell off that little piece, right? So if you have an elderly parent or college age kid or whatever living there in your ADU, you probably, if you're going to have an additional vehicle, it's only going to be one additional vehicle, right? You sell that unit, that's going to be two additional vehicles in your driveway, right? Because it's probably going to be a couple. Most ADUs are one bedroom, but a lot of them are two bedroom. So, you're going to have a couple there. They're probably going to have two vehicles because that's the way it is. So you're adding all of this traffic, right? And then you also have them in your driveway, right? You have this shared driveway, right, for your ADU. And people just don't think about that. They don't think about what a pain in the ass that is. Plus, it's not going to solve any cost of housing issues, right? It's going to drive housing cost up. It's going to drive up property value, which, oh, okay, great. That means that my property is worth more. Sure, okay, maybe it's going to drive up my property value too, and then we can sell our house and get away from here, right? But housing is already crazy expensive, so you're going to drive up the price more? Who are the people that want to sell these ADUs? How long have you lived in your house? How long have you owned that house? Right? Is this a case of you're the retired boomer parents and your kids don't want to live in your granny unit and your parents are dead now and you don't want to be bothered renting and you need quick cash? Sell your house and go live in a condo. Why are you entitled to die in the house that you raised your family in? Why? Nobody else is. Why are you? I'm sure that there are plenty of people out there who would be interested in buying your house with your ADU on it. Right? Omar and I, when we bought the house that we own now, we were originally looking at houses with ADUs. We wanted one with an ADU because we had told our mother, his mother, my mother-in-law, my piece of work mother-in-law, we told her, oh, we're going to get someplace where you can live too. Well, she refused to move. I'm not going anywhere. You're not moving me. I won't go look at it. Because we were like, come with us to go look at these, see which ones you. We asked for her input and everything. She didn't want to move in with us. She didn't want to, even in an ADU. She didn't want her own little place, right? She wanted to be a pain in the ass because that's all she ever is, right? She thought that she'd be able to stay with her hired Filipino lady, her hired help, who, picked up all of her empty bottles for her. And she knew I sure as hell wasn't going to do that for her, right? Um, but now she's living in a board and care. And, coming up on the holidays, I think about her. I'm just like, you should be able to spend time with your family. I don't want to spend any time with her, right? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. She put herself in the position that she's in. And that's the way it is. That's the way it is. And that's the way I feel about boomers that are sitting in these houses that want to make a quick buck selling their ADU. Sell your house. You made the housing crisis, right? That generation, the boomer generation, is what made the housing crisis here in California, right? Prop 13, all that bullshit, greed. The greed of the boomer generation created the housing problem here. And so I'm real hesitant to be like, oh, now you want to do this? No. Your ideas weren't good to begin with. Why would this one be any better? I don't think it would be. There's no way in hell I'd want to sell the cabin on our property to somebody else. Right? And then you got to let them bring in their boat and their camper and whoever they're having over for parties and all that shit. People just aren't thinking. People aren't thinking. They're going to sell their ADUs over here on these tiny, tiny little plots. And then they're not going to have any say over what gets parked in their driveway, who's coming and going, what time of night, right? On these tiny little plots. I'm out in the middle of the woods with property around me, and I don't want to deal with that on my property. Why would any of these people over here want to deal with that on their little postage stamps? I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. People don't make sense. People don't make any sense. The only ones that it would be good for are for the original owners of the homes that sell the ADU to begin with. People who subsequently sell that ADU as a homeowner aren't gonna make anything on that, and it's gonna be a pain in the ass for the entire neighborhood. People are crazy. People are crazy. They really are. Splitting up tiny little lots. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's not really so much that there isn't housing available. There is. The issue, like when you're looking at affordable housing, what they call affordable housing, talking about Section 8 HUD housing, that kind of stuff, it's hard to find people who qualify for it. And I'm not talking about the financial qualifications, right? I'm talking about like the drug testing qualifications. Like, you can't just say, oh, we're going to build all these houses and then tell all these people living on the streets, here's a little house for you, right? People who are in the throes of addiction, particularly the drugs that are on the street, fentanyl, meth, heroin, these things, they don't take care of shit. People who are addicted to oxy, that kind of stuff, no. The drugs that people are doing on the streets, they're not capable of caring for anything around them. Now, not everybody on the street is on those drugs, number one. And number two, not everybody on the street doesn't want to be there, right? But just building, there is housing. There is housing. It's just that, you got to be sober and you can't have anybody come live with you who isn't. Like, I have an aunt who has lived in subsidized housing. And part of the problem was always that my cousin, who was in and out of prison and bad news, right, was always holing up at her place. I mean, you can't fault a mother for wanting for allowing her kid to stay at their house, right? But you know, when you're getting something at below cost, when you're getting something from the government's got strings and there's rules, right? So just because you build some houses doesn't mean that all the people in the street are going to go live in them. So, you know, why are there so many goddamn addicts? I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand it because I've been given drugs without my consent, right? On a number of occasions, I've been poisoned with, I don't even know what all. And I don't understand wanting to feel like that, right? I don't understand wanting to feel like that. So I don't know. I don't know. People who want to feel like that aren't going to take care of anything. I don't know what the answers are. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, just some thoughts while I'm thinking about while I'm sitting here working on this hippy dippy dress. That's what I'm calling these dresses. They're hippy dippy dresses. Inspired by all the dippy hippies. Anyway.